Now, sleeping naked, do you do it? If not, why not? And if so, does it lead to a better relationship with your partner? You might be interested. AUT Psychology Senior Lecturer, Dr Pani Farvid, joins me now. Pani, good morning to you.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Now,
Thank
okay,
you.
let's start this with these statistics.
Yes.
And you'll tell me why these statistics perhaps are rubbish. This is based on a reasonably conducted survey, albeit by a company that makes sheets. 57% of those who sleep in the nude reported being happy with their relationships. 48% of those in pyjamas were happy with their relationships. 43% of those in nighties were happy with their relationships. But only 38% of those who sleep in onesies were happy with their relationships.
So the results are obviously hardly conclusive. And I think there's another way that we could look at this breakdown is that although they say 57% are happy with their relationships, the ones that sleep in the nude, you could actually flip that and say 43% of people who sleep in the nude are not happy with their relationships.
Okay, so you're a glass is half empty kind of girl.
Not really, but I just think often when you get this kind of pop psychology stuff coming through the media, it's always good to look at it critically. And if you flip the stats, it makes it really clear that it's hardly conclusive research.
And I mean, they're not. I mean, the differences are quite small. There is a trend, but the differences are quite small. I mean, what would be the difference in someone who sleeps naked versus someone who sleeps with pyjamas?
Well, the thing is, who knows? There are so many different things going on there. There are social norms, there are individual characteristics, there are geographical scenarios. This is, who you live with, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, maybe you live with the in-laws. I think that one of the things is we do consider skin-to-skin touch as a indicator of intimacy in the contemporary context. So I think that's certainly got something to do with feeling close to someone. But I don't think that's as simple as saying if you sleep in the nude, you're going to have a happier relationship.
Well, that's a shame because that was going to be my next question. Because this survey, if you look at all the aspects of this survey that was conducted, albeit by a sheet company in 2014, it does seem, and it's not, it's not 100% obviously, but it does seem that all of those pointers indicate that you may possibly have a more healthy relationship if you sleep naked.
It could be that people who sleep naked are happier in the first place, or maybe they're more confident in their bodies, maybe they have better relationships to start with. So it's only a correlation versus causation. I think that's the really interesting thing here. We can't really pin it down to the nudity. It could be another third factor that's creating that happiness in the relationship.
Irrespective of how you feel about your partner, what does it actually say about a person, in general terms, that they sleep naked versus someone who sleeps all wrapped up like
maybe they run hot. Maybe they just need to be cool in bed. I think there's all these other sort of individual characteristics and differences that happen, and I don't think you can make sort of grand sweeping generalizations about someone's personality based on their, tendency to sleep nude.
See, Pani, I was sort of hoping that you'd come on and be really interesting. And
sorry.
I'm not saying you're not being really interesting, but I was hoping you'd come on. This is the problem with experts so often. That you were going to come on, you were going to say something amazing about people that sleep naked.
Yeah, that they're just absolutely fabulous individuals.
Well, that they're free spirits and that they, generally speaking, have just better lives and they have a better attitude.
And I think that's a really interesting point that you bring up, because I think there is this cultural association that we have with nudity and the fact that it's more natural. It signifies some sort of freedom that you have, they call it the birthday suit or whatever it is. And the thing is, there are some practical reasons to wearing clothing, but there are also some ridiculous reasons that we wear clothes in the contemporary context. I mean, the fashion industry is an example of it. We don't need to have all these bells and whistles if it was just for practical reasons. So humans have turned it into this sort of ridiculous thing. But that's not to say that this notion of, going back to nature is always better. That's kind of like a social ideal that's popular right now.
Oh, and the next minute you're whittling wood and you're wearing natural beads, and before you know it, you've turned into some kind of feral monster. Or Wendell Nisson. All right, Pani, thank you so much for joining us. That's and I would love to have you back again too. It's always very good to have a psychologist on hand. AUT Psychology Senior Lecturer, Pani Farvid.